You're a good person. You help without being asked. You forgive without being begged. You give more than you receive. And you tell yourself, that's how it should be. And the world has been taking advantage of you since the day you decided to be kind. Not everyone, not always, but enough people, enough times, that a pattern is formed. A pattern you can feel, but can't quite name. A pattern where your generosity becomes the open door, and other people's exploitation becomes the foot that jams it open. The co-worker whose small favor eats your entire afternoon. The friend who only calls when they need something. The partner who says, "You're the only one who understands me," which is code for, "You're the only one who lets me get away with this." The family that takes your sacrifice for granted because you've never once said no. And every time you absorb it, you smile, you help, you accommodate, and you tell yourself, that's just what good people do. But here's what nobody tells good people. There is a predator that hunts kindness specifically. Not strength, not intelligence, not beauty. Kindness. Because kindness is the one trait that comes pre-installed with an inability to defend itself. Tonight, we're going to expose the darkest truth about being a nice person. Why your kindness makes you a target. How predators find you. And what you have to change to stop being consumed by the very trait the world told you was your greatest strength. Predators don't choose their victims at random. They select, they test, they qualify. And the trait they scan for, above all others, is agreeableness. Robert Hare, the psychologist who built the psychopathy checklist, documented that manipulators consistently target people high in agreeableness, the ones who prioritize harmony, avoid conflict, and put everyone else's needs above their own. And here's why. A highly agreeable person is predictable. They'll say yes. They'll absorb guilt. They'll forgive faster than they should. They'll doubt their own judgment before they doubt yours. And most importantly, they'll blame themselves before they ever blame you. The manipulator doesn't need to overpower you. They just need to ask. Because you'll give. And then they'll ask again. And you'll give again. And it repeats until you've given everything. Your time, your energy, your peace, your identity. And all that's left is one question. Why do I feel so empty? And the selection is subtle. It begins with a test, a small boundary violation, just to see how you respond. They show up late without apologizing, and they watch. Do you confront it? Or do you accommodate it? If you accommodate, you've passed the test, and you're now flagged as someone whose boundaries are permeable. They make a slightly disrespectful joke, and watch. Do you push back, or do you laugh it off? If you laugh, you've just confirmed that your comfort is negotiable, and negotiable comfort is an open invitation. They ask for a favor that's slightly too large, and watch. Do you hesitate? Or do you say yes before you've even thought about it? If the yes comes before the thinking, they know your default setting. Your default is compliance. And to a predator, compliance is the master key. You weren't chosen because you're weak. You were chosen because you're kind. And kindness without boundaries is a resource with no fence around it. Anyone can walk in and take whatever they want. So why can't you say no? Not, why don't you want to? Why can't you? Because the inability to say no isn't a choice. It's programming. Installed early, reinforced constantly. Running so deep in your operating system that overriding it feels like betraying your own identity. The program was written in childhood, in homes where love was conditional, where being good meant being useful, where the child who helped, who complied, who never caused trouble, was the child who got the affection. Such a good boy, always helping, never complains, so easy to raise. And the child's brain wrote it down as law. Good equals useful. Love equals service. My value equals what I give. Psychologists call this the fawn response. It's the fourth trauma response, after fight, flight, and freeze. And it's the least talked about and the most insidious. Because fawning doesn't look like trauma. It looks like politeness, generosity, selflessness. It looks like the perfect personality. But underneath the pleasantness is a terrified child. A child who learned that the only way to be safe was to be useful. The only way to be loved was to serve. The only way to avoid abandonment was to never, ever cause discomfort. And that child grew into a man who cannot say no. Not because the word is hard to pronounce, but because the word carries a threat. No equals conflict. Conflict equals abandonment. Abandonment equals death. The equation is buried so deep it runs on its own. Before you even open your mouth, your nervous system has already calculated the cost of no and decided on your behalf that yes is safer. So you're not being nice, you're surviving. And the survival strategy that protected you as a child is quietly destroying you as a man. The people who exploit kindness don't all look alike. Some are narcissists, some are just selfish. Some are wounded themselves, taking what they need without even realizing it. But the playbook is always the same. And once you see it, you can never unsee it. Move 1, the deposit. The exploiter starts by giving a compliment, a favor, a small kindness. But this isn't generosity, it's investment. They're manufacturing a sense of obligation, a debt in your emotional ledger they intend to collect on later. And because you're programmed to reciprocate, because reciprocity is the backbone of your entire operating system, the debt hooks you the moment it lands. Move 2, the escalation. The requests start small and grow, each one a little larger than the last, each one just barely inside the borders of reasonable. Can you cover my shift? Becomes, can you cover every Friday? Becomes, can you carry my workload while I'm gone? It's the boiling frog. You never notice the escalation, because every step is only 1 degree warmer than the one before it. Move 3, the guilt lever. The moment you finally hesitate, when a request crosses even your generous threshold, the lever gets pulled. After everything I've done for you, I thought we were closer than this. I guess I was wrong about you. That isn't disappointment, it's technology. Precision-engineered emotional blackmail, built to override your newly forming boundary and drag you back to compliance. Move 4, the reframe. If guilt fails, they reframe your resistance as a character flaw. You've changed. You used to be so caring. I don't even know what happened to you. The message is precise. The old you, compliant, given, unlimited access, that was the real you. This new version, the one with boundaries, is a deviation, a malfunction, something to be corrected. Move 5, the replacement threat, the final weapon. Maybe I'll just ask someone else. It's aimed at the deepest fear of the people pleaser, being replaceable. Because if you can be replaced, you're not needed. If you're not needed, you're not loved. And if you're not loved, the whole program crashes, and the cycle restarts. You give, they take, you stretch, they push, you break. They move on, or worse, they stay and break you all over again. But this isn't only about them, it's about you. Because the nice man has a shadow he doesn't want to look at. Underneath the kindness, there's a transaction. Not a conscious one, not a calculated one, but a transaction all the same. The nice man gives and expects something back. Not gifts, not favors, something deeper. Reciprocity, loyalty, appreciation. The unspoken contract reads, I give you everything, and in return, you have to love me. You have to stay. You can never leave. And when that contract is broken, when the person he gave everything to doesn't return the same devotion, he doesn't just feel hurt, he feels betrayed. After everything I did for them. Sound familiar? It's the exact sentence the exploiter uses, because underneath both is the same buried assumption, that giving creates a debt. This is the nice guy's shadow, the belief, buried deep, almost never examined, that kindness isn't free, that it comes with a price, and the price is being paid back. Psychologists call these covert contracts, unspoken agreements where one side gives, expecting a return, but never once states the expectation out loud. And when the return doesn't come, the giver feels cheated, not because the other person broke the contract, but because the contract was never offered. It was imposed, silently, invisibly, and the other person never even knew they'd signed it. This is uncomfortable to hear, but it's necessary, because until the nice man looks at his own shadow, until he asks himself, am I being kind because I'm generous, or because I'm afraid of what happens if I stop? He stays trapped in the pattern, still giving, still expecting, still disappointed, still blaming the world for not honoring a contract it never signed. Real kindness has no receipt. Real generosity keeps no ledger. Real love doesn't keep score. And the man who can give without expecting, who can be kind without needing it, returned, is the man who finally breaks free of the cycle. Not because predators stop aiming at him, but because their hooks stop finding anything to catch. The goal is not to stop being kind. The world needs kind men. The goal is to become kind, with armor, generous with limits, open with awareness. First, recalibration. Learn the difference between kindness and compliance. Kindness is a choice. Compliance is a reflex. So when you go to help someone, pause. Ask yourself, am I doing this because I want to, or because I'm afraid of what happens if I don't? If the answer is fear, then it isn't kindness. It's a survival response. And survival responses don't get to wear the label of generosity. Second, install a delay. The nice man's greatest weakness is the instant yes, the word out of his mouth before his brain has even processed the request. So, build in a buffer. When someone asks you for anything, say 4 words. Let me think about it. 4 words that shift the entire power dynamic. Because the instant yes says, my time has no value. The delay says, my time is mine, and I decide how it's spent. Third, practice small no's. You don't start by refusing the biggest ask. You start with the smallest. The order that came out wrong, send it back. The restaurant you don't want, suggest another. The colleague who talks over you, let me finish. Each small no is a rep, and like any muscle, it only grows through repetition. Fourth, audit your contracts. Look at every relationship you have and ask, what am I expecting in return for what I give? If the answer is nothing, that's real kindness. If the answer is loyalty, love, appreciation, being paid back, that's a contract. And a contract has to be either made explicit or released completely. Either tell the person what you need, or stop giving with strings attached. Fifth, accept that some people will leave. When you start saying no, when you start setting boundaries, when you stop being the unlimited resource, some people will walk away. And their leaving is the most valuable information you will ever receive, because it tells you, with total certainty, that they were never there for you. They were there for the service. Let them go. And watch what happens with the ones who stay, the ones who respect the boundary, who appreciate the no, who love you for who you are and not for what you provide. They become the foundation of a life that no longer costs you yourself to maintain. Kindness is not weakness, but kindness without boundaries is. And the man who gives everything to everyone will eventually have nothing left for himself. You were not put on this earth to be consumed. You were not built to be a resource that others drain. You were not born to be the floor everyone walks across, while telling you what a great floor you are. You are allowed to be kind and selective, generous and guarded, open and armored. These aren't contradictions. They're the formula for a man who survives his own goodness. Stop apologizing for having limits. Stop performing an availability you don't feel. Stop giving to people who only show up when your hands are full. And the next time someone mistakes your kindness for weakness, let the boundary you set teach them the difference. This is OBSCURA. Clarity through darkness.